The desert sun beat down mercilessly on Route 47 as the Iron Vultures Motorcycle Club roared through the Arizona wasteland. 12 riders in worn leather vests, their bikes gleaming chrome and black, headed toward a weekend rally in Sedona. Leading the pack was Marcus "Wrench" Sullivan, a 48-year-old former Marine, whose weathered face told stories of both war and redemption. They'd just passed a desolate gas station when Marcus spotted something unusual. A small figure running frantically down the shoulder of the highway, arms waving desperately. As they drew closer, Marcus raised his fist, signaling the group to slow down. The figure was a boy, maybe 7 years old, his face streaked with tears and dust, his white t-shirt torn at the collar. He ran directly into the path of the motorcycles, forcing them to brake hard. The bikes skidded to stops in a cloud of dust and gravel. "Kid, you got a death wish," shouted Tommy Rodriguez, the youngest member, pulling off his helmet, but the boy wasn't listening. He grabbed onto Marcus's handlebars, his small hands trembling. "Please. You have to help me. They took her. They took my mom." Marcus cut the engine and swung off his bike, kneeling to the boy's level. "Slow down, son. Who took your mom?" The child gasped for breath between sobs. "Two men in a white truck. They stopped at our car, we had engine trouble, and they made her get in. She told me to run and hide in the rocks, but they drove away with her. Please, mister, they're getting away." The other bikers had dismounted now, forming a semicircle around the scene. Marcus exchanged glances with his road captain, Diana Diesel Chen, a no-nonsense woman with silver streaks in her black hair, who'd been riding with the club for 15 years. "How long ago?" Diesel asked, her voice sharp and focused. Maybe 10 minutes. I ran as fast as I could to find help, but nobody would stop." Fresh tears rolled down his dirt-stained cheeks. Tommy snorted, crossing his arms. "Come on, Wrench. This is obviously some kind of scam. Kid's probably working with someone to rob whoever stops." "He's 7 years old," Marcus said quietly, his eyes never leaving the boy's face. "Look at him. Could be a setup," another rider chimed in. "Remember that thing in Tucson last year? Family used kids to." "I know my gut," Marcus interrupted, standing up. "And my gut says this kid's telling the truth." He placed a hand on the boy's trembling shoulder. "What's your name, son?" "Elijah. Elijah Foster." "Okay, Elijah. What kind of truck? Did you see a license plate?" "White pickup. Old, with rust." "I saw the numbers. I remember, because my mom always makes me practice numbers. It was 747. JK something. Arizona plate." Diesel was already on her phone. "I'm calling state police." "Good," Marcus said. "But we're not waiting. That's a 10-minute head start. They could be anywhere on these roads." He turned to the group. "Who's with me?" For a moment, silence hung in the hot air. Then Diesel pocketed her phone. "I'm in." "This is insane," Tommy protested. "We don't even know if." "Then stay here with the kid," Marcus cut him off. "Anyone else?" 6 more hands went up. Within seconds, the decision was made. 5 riders would continue the search, while 3 stayed with Elijah at the gas station to wait for police. Marcus hoisted Elijah onto the back of his bike. "Hold on tight, buddy. We're going to find your mom." They split into 2 teams, communicating by radio headsets. Marcus and Diesel took the main highway, while the other 3 checked side roads. Elijah clung to Marcus's back, scanning the horizon with desperate intensity. 20 minutes of high-speed pursuit yielded nothing. Marcus's radio crackled. "Wrench, this is Bear. We got nothing on County Road 19. Heading back to, wait. White pickup, heading north on Old Mine Road. 2 occupants visible. I can see, yeah, third person in the back, looks restrained. Marcus's heart pounded. GPS coordinates. Now. Within 3 minutes, both teams converged on a narrow dirt road that wound through rocky canyons. The white pickup was visible ahead, kicking up dust as it bounced over the rough terrain. Kid, hold on tight. This is going to get bumpy, Marcus warned. The motorcycles roared forward, their engines echoing off canyon walls. The truck driver spotted them in his mirror and accelerated, but the terrain favored the bikes. They were nimble, able to navigate rocks and ruts that forced the truck to slow down. Diesel pulled alongside the driver's side, gesturing forcefully for them to pull over. The driver, a sunburned man with wild eyes, swerved toward her. She barely avoided being run off the road. These guys aren't playing, she radioed. Marcus had a plan forming. There, Rico, get ahead of them. There's a narrow pass about a quarter-mile up. If we can box them in, the chase continued, dust and adrenaline filling the air. Elijah's grip tightened on Marcus's jacket, but the boy didn't make a sound. 2 of the riders managed to overtake the truck and position themselves ahead, slowing down to create a blockade. Trapped between the bikes ahead and behind, the truck finally jerked to a stop. Marcus was off his bike instantly, with Diesel and the others forming a wall of leather and chrome. The truck's doors flew open. 2 men emerged, rough-looking, one with a neck tattoo, both with the jittery movements of methamphetamine users. Back off, the driver shouted, pulling something from his belt. A knife glinted in the sunlight. Federal offense, kidnapping, Diesel called out calmly, her phone held high. Already sent your plates and location to the state police. They are en route. You want to add assault to your charges? The men looked at each other, calculating odds. 7 bikers, several of whom looked like they'd seen combat, versus 2 tweakers with a knife. The math didn't work in their favor. Mom. Elijah's voice pierced the tension. From the truck bed, a woman's face appeared, Elijah's mother, her hands bound with zip ties, tape across her mouth. Her eyes went wide when she saw her son. That second of distraction was all Marcus needed. He lunged forward, closing the distance before the driver could react. Years of military training kicked in. Within seconds, the knife was on the ground and the man's arm was twisted behind his back. The other riders secured the second kidnapper. Diesel helped Elijah's mother from the truck, cutting her bonds with a multi-tool. The moment she was free, she collapsed to her knees, and Elijah ran into her arms. They held each other, both sobbing, as the desert wind blew dust around them. Thank you, she gasped, looking up at Marcus through tears. Thank you. I thought, you're safe now, Marcus said gently. Police are coming. Can you tell us what happened? Her name was Sarah Foster, a single mother driving from Phoenix to visit her sister in Flagstaff. When her 10-year-old sedan broke down in the middle of nowhere, these men had stopped, offering help. Instead, they'd planned to take her to a house in the mountains. She'd overheard them talking about the others, suggesting she wasn't their first victim. By the time the Arizona State Police arrived 15 minutes later, they found 2 suspects secured and sitting in the dirt, a group of bikers giving statements, and a mother and son who wouldn't let go of each other. The senior trooper, a woman named Lieutenant Vasquez, took everyone's information. You folks probably saved this woman's life, she told Marcus quietly. Maybe saved a lot of lives. These 2 are wanted in connection with 3 other disappearances in the region. As the sun began its descent toward the horizon, painting the desert in shades of orange and gold, Sarah approached the group of bikers. Elijah held her hand tightly. I don't know how to thank you, she said. You risked everything for strangers. Marcus shook his head. No thanks necessary. We did what anyone should do. But most people didn't, she said softly. Elijah tried to flag down cars for 10 minutes before you stopped. Everyone just drove past a terrified child. Tommy, the skeptical rider, looked down at his boots. I'm sorry, kid. I didn't believe you at first. Elijah looked up at him with those serious 7-year-old eyes. That's okay. Mr. Wrench believed me. That's what mattered. After providing temporary repairs to get Sarah's car running, and making sure the police had everything they needed, the Iron Vultures prepared to continue their journey. They'd missed the rally's opening ceremony, but somehow that didn't seem important anymore. As they mounted their bikes, Elijah ran up to Marcus one last time. Are you a superhero? Marcus smiled, a genuine warmth breaking through his weathered exterior. No, buddy. I'm just someone who decided to listen. Remember that. Sometimes the most heroic thing you can do is pay attention when someone needs help. I will, Elijah promised. When I grow up, I'm going to help people too. Sarah waved as the motorcycles roared to life. God bless you all. As they rode into the setting sun, Diesel pulled up alongside Marcus. You know what? Best detour I ever took. Marcus nodded, the weight of what could have happened settling in his chest. Makes you think, doesn't it? How many people pass by someone in trouble because it's inconvenient? Because they are skeptical. Because they've got somewhere to be. Too many, she replied. That night, at a small motel in Sedona, the Iron Vultures gathered in the parking lot, sharing beers and replaying the day's events. The story would become part of the club's legend. The day they saved a life on Route 47. 3 months later, Marcus received a letter. Inside was a drawing from Elijah, stick figures of motorcycles and people with big smiles. The note read, Dear Mr. Wrench, thank you for listening when I needed help. Mom says angels come in all kinds of forms. I think sometimes they come on motorcycles. Your friend forever, Elijah. Marcus pinned it to the wall of his garage, where it remained for years, a reminder that sometimes the road less traveled, the detour you didn't plan, the inconvenience you didn't want, leads exactly where you're meant to be. Hello everyone. If you are enjoying this video and finding it helpful, don't forget to support our channel. Please subscribe to our channel, press the like button, and share this video with your friends and family. Also, make sure to turn on the notification bell so you never miss our upcoming videos. We regularly upload amazing, informative, and entertaining content just for you. Your support means a lot to us and motivates us to bring even better content in the future. Thank you so much for watching, and welcome to our growing community.